So as we draw near the end of 2026, and my premise is that divine judgment and the reorganization of the heavenly hierarchy is wrapping up and will have wrapped up by the end of 2026. That does not mean that we're going to wake up in a utopia. That is not going to happen. We are not going to wake up in some other reality. Now, when you cross over to the other side, there's going to be some changes in how that's been happening. But what is going to happen is our organizational reality, the way that we operate with our willpower, and this reality is changing. The rules of the game have changed. The ruling entities have changed. So no one really can predict what that is going to look like or how that's going to play out. All I can tell you is what that means based on my knowledge of Pistis Sophia and what has happened in our present day and my experience, okay? The reality that humanity has been subject to is it has been and stacked against us from the beginning, thanks to the archons. And I think many of us are using the terms archons and fallen angels interchangeably. Like in some cases they refer to the same group of entities. There is a distinction there, but we don't need to worry about that now. For now, they're all the same. But these fallen entities, whether they be fallen angels or archons, have been able to enforce their wills, their fates on humanity for a long, long time. And it has been stacked unfairly against humanity, who are by and large innocent and ignorant of these ruling powers. There is another group of humans who have been working with these entities, who know their names and know their powers and have been working in conjunction with them to rule the world. What the completion of divine judgment and the heavenly hierarchy means is this ruling control structure is coming to an end. It is coming to an end. There will still be archonic entities in the game because their function in the heavenly hierarchy has to do with running time. They still have to rule time. There still has to be, a man at the station doing that. But the malevolent ones have been removed, and they are suffering the same fate that Sophia suffered before her redemption. Usually you don't think of Yeshua or Jesus administering eye for an eye judgment, but in the case of the malevolent archons, that is going to be a case. They will have all of their light powers pressed from them, and they will be thrown into the darkest depths, but they will not be redeemed. As for the rest of the archons, many of whom were doing their due diligence, they were doing their jobs in running the cogwheels of time. There will be some reorganization, but they will all have their powers reduced by 1/3. So all of the control structure that humanity has been subject to is being completely changed. It is completely changed. Those malevolent archons are gone, and the humans that they've been working with The way Pistis Sophia explains it is, now that those malevolent archons or fallen angels have been removed and powers removed from them and cast down, any who call on their name, who try to work magic in their name, that is going to be reflected back on them. They're essentially going to be working black magic on themselves. So it's not going to go well. And those ruling entities they're not there anymore. They've been removed. And then all of the other spirits, the archonic entities that run the cogwheels of time, fate, and space, their powers have been reduced by a third. And then their clocks, compasses, and timepieces have been changed. So they no longer have the ability to predict what happens next, which is why in Project Looking Glass, we have a convergence of timelines, and all of a sudden, no one can predict what happens next. So for a regular old human, me and you, this means we have been subject to archonic oppression our whole lives. All of our abilities to create and be human, they have been suppressed, subdued, manipulated. That is all going away. That is all going away. So we are going to be able to create and do like we've never been able to before. But we are so brainwashed. Well, many of us will probably continue to operate as if we're under archonic control, because what does it matter? What does it matter? I have no power in this situation. You've been brainwashed to believe that you have no power. Well, the reorganization of the heavenly hierarchy means that, no, we're not going to wake up in a utopia, but you're more powerful than you ever dreamed of before. And what you are creating with your thoughts and emotions are going to manifest more readily and apparently than they ever have before. So you better take the reins. You better take the reins on your thoughts and emotions. Your body is a spiritual antenna. You have a navigation system consisting of your brain and your heart. The currency of the brain is your thoughts. The currency of your heart is emotions. You are meant to drive those with conscious awareness toward the outcome that you want, toward the outcome that aligns with your higher good or the higher good of all, or in your connection with God, whatever God is pressing on your heart to do. Now, you've always been able to do this, but now you're going to be able to do it without these oppressive forces derailing you. So if you can get out of the mindset that what I do doesn't matter, or I'm a slave, or I'm powerless, you have the keys to the kingdom now. But will you use it? Can you get outside your box? Can you get outside your head to do that? Humanity is like a dog that has been chained to a post, and now the collar and chain are being removed. Are you going to stay in your enclosure, or are you going to expand beyond that and claim your power and authority? It is not going to be a utopia that we wake up in overnight. It is going to be an exercise of humanity deciding that they are not going to be enslaved, not going to be powerless, exercising their will and authority and dominion on this earth. And so what New Earth looks like is there's going to be a group of people that get it or don't. And what will we create with that knowledge? there is going to be a large group that never realizes that the collar and chain have been removed, that they have all the power and authority and more than they ever dreamed of. But for those who understand the message and understand what the reorganization of the heavenly hierarchy means, this is how something new and better is created over time, over generations, slowly rebuilding, reorganizing, restructuring